Hey, so we're in a fresh new year and time to start setting those goals and making a lot of music here. And for myself, every other year I go through this process of making a song every week for the entire year because there is a bit of a competition that happens where it's actually called Weekly Beats. And the goal is to make a song every week for the entire year. And you're probably hearing that and thinking, that's a lot of work. That's a massive time commitment. How can you do something like that? And I do have a bit of a survival guide for this thing because it is a big premise, but if you manage it well, I do manage this YouTube channel and get away with making a song every week. So I thought I'd highlight some of my tips to make something like that happen and give it to you. So let's get straight into it. So number one off the bat is understanding time, because we might sound like that we have an entire week to work on a track and get it out there, but we do need to sleep, we do need to eat, we do need to go to work, and we probably have a whole bunch of other life commitments like me with this YouTube channel. And really, once you understand like what you have available to you, you understand the little time that you actually do have to make a song. So this first tip is really going out and saying, use that time to actually gauge how much you can make with music. So like say you probably have an hour or two every day, or you might have 15 minutes here or there. Really focus on trying to make a song that you can build in that time, instead of like saying, oh, I'm going to do this big amazing thing, and really just come out with something that's sort of half baked at the end, or you ran out of time and couldn't finish it. So really focus on that really minimal viable product, some little business terms there. But once you got that completed, you can go and expand it out. So usually I try and spend an hour to create the actual song idea early in the week, and then try and get as much of it as done as possible. And then once I have that minimal viable product, if I feel happy with it, I'll continue on working on it. If not, I'll finish it off there, and then I've got room to move around and do other things as well, make some preparations and that. So it just gives me more time back to myself because I'm very time poor, but it really does help when it comes to like building that initial starting point. All right, so we had a bit of a chat about time because I think that's the most important part when it comes to these things. But the second tip that I wanted to say, which is probably a little bit controversial, is actually coming up with a template to help you make music. And I think that controversial part comes in because people think making a template, it becomes formulaic and you build the same thing over and over and you don't really get to experiment. But when I say build a template, what I'm really saying is focus on building things that you know that you're going to repeat over and over, like really plotting in a 4 on the floor drum kick. Is that really making music? Or choosing the drums and like being able to like make the music in that. So what I've done, I use Renoise, which is a tracker based DAW. I also have a few hardware things as well that I use. But what I've done in here is I've got this template file where it's got like my A section, my B section, which I break up into low energy, high energy parts. The basic sort of groove that I work with. So if I wanted to change this up and make this into a, say, drum and bass track, like I can just bump that down to here. And if I play that, I got my BPM like set to where I usually work anyway. And I've got a few instruments loaded up that I know that I'll always go to. So it's like EXO is like my drum kit that I usually go to. And like if I wanted to like change up the drum sounds, like it gives me all these tools that I can get right into the song idea that I have. And there's a few other things in this template as well. Like I bought this recently, which is Andrew Huang's Transition. So it's like, so it's just a whole bunch of tools ready to go that I know I'm probably going to use, and then I can get into the actual music making, so I can start plugging in my bass lines, the chord ideas that I have, or the sample that I found, and really start mangling it up. And I'm not really worried about setting up the environment to start making music. All right, so you've probably got a nice template going, or you've set up your space with some really nice gear that you enjoy using, and it's all ready to go, so you can jump straight in there and start making music. But there are a few little pitfalls that are ahead of us, and this is where this third tip is really about the mindset of getting music down. Because right now, I've done a bit of work on this track and I've got something together. I've sort of blocked it all out and I feel pretty confident with it. But this is where the first one, it sort of came to me through someone telling me a story where it was two groups of people in a pottery class. So you have part A and part B. part A, they were told to make the best pot they could, so they just worked on one. And then the second group, they were told to make a pot every day during it. And when it came time to like reveal who had the better pot, it was the group that spent repetition building on tools and getting to a point where like their 100th pot looked heaps better than the group A that did their one really amazing pot. So you build out skill over time. So this one's really focusing on doing something new every time you come to a song. So it's like with this one, I have a few tools, like I do have the Arturia suite and that I really do enjoy it, but I've never used this transit tool before. So, and really, how does it work with Renoise? So this is where I have a bunch of automation ready to go. And also, if I just jump in here, it's just working with this interface as well, how to get the most out of it for what style of music they want. So creating some like noise risers and fallers, as well as some ways to augment the sound as I go. And I think I found a really nice flow of getting it in there and using the automation in Renoise to get it. So that was part A, because like I think building out this will build out your toolkit over time. So it's like instead of like trying to nail everything at once and buying all the tools at once, you have this like grouping of, well, over 52 weeks, you have 52 new things that you can try. And like sometimes they might work for you, sometimes they might not. But in the end, you've tried it, you've given it a go, and you find out what works best for you. But this second part to this one really focuses on trying to avoid being perfectionist, because we can get tied into the nitty gritty details, and especially with trackers, they have a tendency to get right into the granular music making. But if you take like, I'm going to aim to hit 70% of my best, you can actually get there quite quick, because like a bit of my background, like with some of the projects I work on, it's like the first 90% to get to that point takes 90% of the effort, and then that last 10% to hit 100%, that takes another 90% of effort to get to it. And like this is sort of something that comes from game development. But for here, if you're trying to aim for that 70%, you can actually get a really good idea down on paper and really hear what it's going to sound like. Do you like it? But you don't have that overhead of like, oh, I need to make it perfect. It has to go on the internet and people are going to like it. You're just making an idea. You're putting it out there to see how it sounds. And if you like it, you can take it to that next 20 or 30%. But you've done all the groundwork and you've hit that milestone of like, I built something and I got it out there. All right, we're up to number 4 now, and this one's focusing more on taking breaks, because you've probably experienced this before, where you've been working on a song for hours and it sounds amazing and you really like it, and you decide to leave for a bit, come back again, have a listen, and it doesn't sound as good as you left it. And that is because our ears actually get fatigued as we go through the process of making music. So we want to give them a break, we want to give ourselves a break. And really, I have this little clock that I found. It's called a timer time, no sponsorship or anything like that, but really it just allows me to set a certain amount of time, and then I focus on solving the problem. So I'll sit back, listen to the song, see what are the problem areas, like, oh, this area might need a build up, or there might be a melody that's not really working the way I want. And I'll sit there and solve those problems until like the timer runs out and it makes a noise. You can have it so it doesn't, but what you can do is you go away, make a coffee, come back again, and you re-listen to what you've done, and then you can start problem solving your music with fresh ears and fresh eyes in mind to see what's going on. Alright, so we're going through the process, and you probably made a really cool track by now, and you're at that point where you want to hit upload and get it out there to the internet, but you're a little bit scared. And really, I think this one just comes with time, but definitely getting into the process of uploading your music, getting people to listen to it and seeing what people say is a bit intimidating at first, but definitely getting music out there is going to help you grow. It's going to help you get your ideas out there and let people listen to it. And it's not as scary as it is. Like, I am a YouTuber, I do the YouTube thing, but putting your like content out there for other people to listen to and judge, people aren't that judgy. And this is why I really enjoy Weekly Beats, because it's a really supportive community. They've come together so they can upload their music, but also comment and enjoy other people's music and come together and say very nice things about each other. So I would recommend, if you haven't, definitely have a look over there. It's been running for a long time now, so you can find a whole bunch of the music and you'll see the types of comments that pop up. So it's definitely a really good environment to get your stuff out there. So in the end, I hope you found this one useful, because breaking down like a large project like making a song every week into like individual parts, it does become a lot more manageable, but there's a few ways that we can actually do our work and make it a little bit easier for ourselves so we don't fall into those pitfalls of like tripping ourselves up, and actually get some ideas out here. Now, I am really enjoying this little track, so I'm probably going to finish it off and clean it up and get it ready for weekly beats. But if you haven't, I definitely recommend that you go over there and check out the website. I will leave a link down below so you can go have a look. And yeah, if you want to try it out, definitely give it a go. Like, see if you can build a track within a week. It's definitely manageable if you break it down, but it does give you a little bit of drive to try and do things. So hopefully I can compete with the weekly commitment as well as doing this YouTube stuff as well. So we'll see how that goes. You might see a few of the videos pop up here. But in the end, if you did like this one, definitely give it a thumbs up, because there's a little bit of good knowledge to help people with like avoiding those pitfalls, really, because we all want to make really good music, but yeah, we can trip up over ourselves. I know I definitely trip myself up when I try to make the best I possibly can. So hopefully this has helped you out. And if you do have any comments or queries, please feel free to leave them down below. I do go down there and chat and see how things are going. So definitely do that. And in the end, I hope you found this one useful. And I do have a variety of content based around music making here. So if you're interested and want to have a look, I look forward to seeing you next time.